Bank. Erik Berglof is chief economist at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Of course, the EBRD, along with the IMF and the EU, set up in 2009 that Vienna Initiative and collective bank action that helped avert a financial crisis in emerging Europe. Erik Berglof joins me now from the World Economic Forum in Vienna. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Good to see you. So, I wanted to start by asking you about the Vienna Initiative, just picking up where we left off, of course, designed to boost Eastern European economies. Now Eurozone policymakers are thinking about applying that blueprint, if you like, to Greece. Does this make sense to you?
Well, I think the first thing to emphasize is that it's a very different problem. It's a problem here of, or the Vienna Initiative was about solving a liquidity problem for subsidiaries of large banks, Western European banks operating in Eastern Europe. And of course, that is a different setting, a different players to some extent. But what it tried to do was to solve a coordination problem, to make sure that everyone involved, the banks, the private sector, and the public sector with the home countries of these banks and the host countries of their subsidiaries were all around the table. And there was really no framework in Europe for doing that, and that's what we tried to do at the time. Of course, the situation now is a different one. It's about debt sustainability. It's not about liquidity of subsidiaries. But I think what is common, and it's important to emphasize that there are a large number of players that need to get around the table. There is a European setting, which was also important, I think, for the success of the Vienna Initiative. But
okay,
again,
so from what you're saying, Mr. Berglof, correct me if I'm wrong, what you're saying is that the Vienna Initiative may buy some time, but it's effectively not going to resolve anything.
Well, I think buying time could be very important because it could allow some of the measures in Greece to have an impact. Talking about privatization, talking about some of the reforms that could generate growth. It is an attempt to avoid some much more harmful outcomes.
And Mr. Berglof, German Finance Minister Wolfgang Schäuble saying in a letter that Vienna-style approach wouldn't go far enough, sort of echoing a little bit of what you're saying there, I suppose. He's saying that bondholders, that the people that hold Greek debt need to make a substantial contribution to the support effort, if you like. Does he have a point?
Well, I think he has a point. The question is whether you can bring that about as part of the type of sort of Vienna-inspired solution. And I think that's the outstanding question. And I think that would probably involve having, some of these claimants or creditors of Greece getting paid back in full and some others possibly participating. But again, I don't want to speculate in specific solutions. It's really that there may be something to learn from the spirit of the Vienna Initiative.
Is there a risk that the ratings agencies would perhaps classify a Vienna-style initiative as a default? I guess part of the challenge here would be to convince them that it is completely voluntary.
Well, obviously that is a big question, and I know that rating agencies are looking at this in a very critical manner, and whatever solution is found, that needs to be sort of precondition that this is not regarded by them as a default situation. And of course, that's also, I think, in part a dialogue that needs to be had with the rating agencies, that there is a full understanding of this is sort of an arrangement that is a win for Europe as a whole and for the parties involved.